He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
I hope you're having a great day. Welcome to Coast View, the show that every single day celebrates the men and women who are making coastal Mississippi such an amazing place to live, work, and play. And you know, you heard me say this before, but one of the things I love most about this show is that we have the time to really delve into people and get to know sort of the story behind the story. And I came across, because of a good friend who sent me a note about them, Calvin Ishii, I might add, from Pastor Shan. He sent me a note about a group called Chapel Hart, H-A-R-T, Chapel Hart. I'd not heard of them before, to be quite honest. And what that did, once he sent me the note, it sent me kind of on a little bit of a mission to understand who are these three women and what are they all about. And I have to tell you, the more I studied them, the more I fell in love with them. They have such an incredible collection of music, and they've got great videos. They've been recognized internationally. This is going to be a fun story to tell this morning. But I usually start with a quote, and I went through several verses. They've got some cool music, and we'll get into that in just a second. But one of their songs, it touched me, and here is the way it starts. And we'll get them to do some melodies maybe as we move forward. But here's what it says. Mama always told me, don't be afraid to shine. Don't you try to please no one except the one inside. No, you can't change the weather, and you can't change where you're from, the color of your skin, nor the beat of your own drum. Wow, what a beautiful. This song, their music is a lot about independence and, setting your own goals and just sort of going against what others might want you to do, and just do what's right for you, to do what drives you on the inside. There's a bit of a religious undertone to some extent, because there's a strong belief in the power of the human spirit, and it just comes out over and over again. Boy, and I have to say also, and you'll hear me talk about this in a second, but pure independence, man. They love the whole notion of an independent woman. So without any further ado, let me welcome my friends from Chapel Hart into the conversation. How you guys doing this morning?
Hey! Hello.
You didn't cover our
It's great to. Hey, by the way, you've got a performance coming up at the Whiskey Bar in Pastor Shan on July the 9th, this weekend. So
yes.
We'll make sure we focus on that just a bit. But Danica, let me see. Introduce. We should see yourself.
Hey y'all, I'm Danica.
Okay.
And I'm Tree.
And we're Chapel Hart.
Oh, well, see, you've done that before. Do it again. Do it again, so we can make sure I don't talk over you.
Okay. I'm Danica.
I'm Devin. And I'm Tree.
And we're Chapel Hart.
Okay, so you're all related. So why don't we start with this? Tell us, Danica, about who you are and how you came to know each other, and so a little bit of the evolution of your trio.
Okay, so we had started out probably, I would say, in 1998, and I wasn't quite as happy of a child because Deb was born. I was ready to send her back to the hospital within like a week. So this is how we really got to know each other. This was the start of our relationship.
It was a rocky start.
It was a very rocky start. And then one day it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I said, we can accomplish so much more if we team up. And she was like, okay. So then we became friends as sisters. And so Deb and I are sisters, and Tree's our first cousin, and Tree's been getting me into trouble pretty much our whole lives too. So somehow we joined forces and started, we went out in the music world and started making music and singing country music. And here we are today, I guess, is the short of it.
I love that. Here are three women who sort of breaking the mold of country music in a way. But when you listen to your music, okay, first of all, I have a musical background. I bang on the piano. I played drums my whole life.
Let's go.
Yeah. So, but the interesting thing is, though, I enjoy everything from Mozart and Vivaldi to Beethoven, of course. I love blues music, back to Robert Johnson and the evolution of blues in the Mississippi Delta. I love country music. I'm a huge fan of Dolly Parton. And when yeah, right. We'll get to that in a second. But it's interesting that your music has a soul. There's very classical, actually, country and western feel to your music, but also kind of this rhythm and blues kind of dug into some of it as well. How do you describe what you're doing? Because it's very traditional in many ways.
I think a lot of people always say they hear so many different influences in our music because, growing up, we listened to country, but we listen to literally everything. If you come in the van with us, you are going to hear almost every genre of music. And I think we don't purposely, put it in our music. I think that's just kind of what comes out. And it was one time Danica thought she was doing she thought she was going to perform a Negro spiritual in church, and she got finished and she sung her heart out. And the lady said, "We want to thank Sister Hart for that great country and western song." And
I was so upset. I was like,
she tried.
This was it for me. And I was like, I was about to hit my roots, and she said, she hit me with the country and western and broke my heart, I think. I said, I was really aiming for Negro spiritual, but
the Mississippi roots came out. You weren't expecting it, but that's what I often tell people, because sometimes they're like, "Oh, you guys must be real soulful." I say, just wait until the whiskey starts to flowing, and then you can hear that Southern Mississippi real fast.
They always say, "Oh, well, we don't really." Sometimes they say, "We don't really hear an accent." I say, "Oh, you give us a couple drinks, and you'll hear it." It's Mississippi for sure.
Or do you feel like, okay, first of all, do you feel like you're breaking the mold? That's number one. Two, do you feel a responsibility in the effort to break the mold? I mean, you got to talk about that a lot.
I think part A of that, I don't know if it feels like being in it. I don't know if it feels so much as though we're like breaking the mold. But on the other side of that, I do feel like we have a huge responsibility. And I guess originally we would start out and we'd say, we want like little black girls to be able to look at CMT and see us and say, I can sing country music, but then we show up to the shows and there's black kids, there's white kids, there is all kinds, and they show up and they dance and they sing. They know these songs sometimes better than us. And the responsibility is that to show the kids coming up that you can be whatever you want to be. It doesn't matter if you're from Mississippi or if you're from Alabama or wherever. You can be from the smallest town in the world. There's a great big world out there, and whatever it is that you want to do, you can do. And always used for the best example, like we ain't the smartest folks, but you know what I'm saying. If we can do it, and we're from Hart's Chapel and Poplarville, surely anybody else in the world can do it. It just takes hard work and dedication. So,
but it does. But you at the end of the day, man, you got to have a hook. You got to have songs that hook people, and your songs hook people. Let me come back to the thing about the young black girl. It made me think about the movie about Serena and Venus Williams, which I thought was an incredible movie. What an incredible story about the sense of responsibility that they had to prove to all young girls, especially young black girls, that you can do this, and the path they took and how they focused on. Obviously, they skipped no steps. They worked their rear ends off. They did everything that needed to happen to help them be successful. But they proved it. There's a path. In that particular case, it was tennis. But in your case, it's country music, and you're showing people that there's a path. See, what I believe about you guys after I studied you is that you've gotten recognition, you've got international recognition, and we'll chat about some of that here in just a second. But I actually believe, now that I've really gotten the chance to meet you, is that your best days are ahead of you. So really cool things are ahead of you. So let's take a step back for a second. Poplarville. Talk a little bit about growing up in Poplarville.
Oh, well, have you ever seen that Andy Griffith show. No.
And,
We got a red light now, so we're not that Mayberry. But honestly, I feel like Poplarville is that quintessential country town you hear in every song growing up. You know, playing, running up and down the roads barefoot. Like, you can't get in trouble at school because the teacher knows your mama, knows your grandpa, who knows everybody in town. And it's like, it's truly one of those, like, after we've traveled around the world, I almost feel like it feels like one of those fairy tale country towns. But that's literally Poplarville. Wasn't nothing much to do, but run around outside, hang out with friends, and get into trouble.
Hey, so the way I described Poplarville is it's almost like going back in time. It's like a little town that's been preserved, and the classic.
Yes. We're based out of New Orleans now, and I always tell people we're about 45 minutes and 40 years away.
Isn't that true, though? That's so true.
So true.
So, hey, when we come back, we're going to continue this wonderful conversation with Chapel Hart, and we'll talk about where the inspiration for all this incredible music comes from. And I'll throw a couple songs out there, and we'll talk about there's a sassiness behind some of their songs, and that makes them fun to listen to. We'll see you after this break.
talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. I'm really enjoying today's show. As I mentioned, this is one of the reasons I enjoy doing this show, was so you can tell stories like this trio known as Chapel Hart. And I really thank a friend of mine for bringing them to my attention. We have Danica and Devin Hart and Tree Swindle, who is on with us today. And I want to tell you just a real quick, just so you can get a sense of this. They're a Mississippi trio. They're based, as you heard in the first segment, out of New Orleans, from Poplarville. And so I love the way that Tree talked about that. They were named CMTs, country music. What's the T stand for?
Television.
Oh, television, of course.
Country music television. Yep.
CMT. I just always say it's CMT. I forgot to think about what it means. But okay.
Right.
But anyway, they were Next Women in Country in 2021. And the music video for their song "Made for Me" charted number 3 on CMT's 12-pack countdown. They've been known as the International Group of the Year. They have a single that we're going to go into great detail about, which is actually a response to Dolly Parton's song Jolene. But the name of that song is "You Can Have Him, Jolene," and it is an amazing song. What a cool song. They've been recognized in the UK, and obviously the list of recognition goes on. But they're Mississippi born, and we love the fact that we have the opportunity to focus on them now. So let's come back to, where does your music come from?
Literally life, our life experiences. We all grew up. They're older than me. I'm not gonna say how much older. You're welcome, guys. But they're older than me, so we kind of grew up. So let me back up a little bit. Our grandmother has 17 kids, and there are 108 of the first cousins. And
wow.
So we're kind of grouped up in different, age groups.
Yeah.
So we all kind of had sort of the same experience, but it was still kind of different. And being that we're a trio, you get to, when we write our music, it's like the same story, but from 3 different perspectives and all in one. And I think that kind of helps make our music sort of relatable, because if you can't relate to one aspect of it, you got 2 other options.
I mean, that's really cool. And by the way, I should point out that that was Devin Hart talking just then. She looks like Rihanna. And she's quite beautiful. But so Danica, let's come back to you for a second. When you guys go into the songwriting process, how does it work?
I tell people all the time, the songwriting process for us is so different. I think just kind of however it hit, we're now kind of trying to start to make friends in Nashville, and usually the Nashville way is you connect with other writers and you have rights, and so it's like and usually like people have writing groups and circles and friends, and they connect that way. But we often just write together, and if we're like on the road or at the hotel or something, which is how we ended up writing Jesus and Alcohol. We were just in a hotel room, and Lord, I was in the bathroom. I was just going to teach myself how to play guitar, and I don't know, Tree was somewhere, Deb was somewhere, and I learned Amazing Grace, just chords, and we came out, and Deb said, "Why don't we write an alliteration?"
No, say you came out the bathroom. You said
out the bathroom. I came out the bathroom.
We were not in there with her.
Yes, she was. No, so I came out of the bathroom. Deb said, "Why don't we write an alliteration?" And I said, what is an alliteration?" And she said, like Bible, bourbon, and breakup. And it was like, so we grabbed the guitar. I took the chords I knew from Amazing Grace, and we kind of switched them up a little bit. And we wrote Jesus and Alcohol in like 25 minutes. And it was a moment when we sang it all through. We all looked at each other, and it was like, either this is about to be a hot mess, or this is about to be one of the greatest songs we've ever written. And Billy Gibbons heard it and was like, "What can I do to help those girls? This is one of the songs I've heard."
it's so important these days because as I've discussed with my friend Steve Azar here on Coast View and on his show in a Mississippi Minute many times, the whole music industry has changed dramatically over the last few years. And in fact, I sent him a note over the weekend. I read this great review of how artists are paid from the streaming services and how many people are getting their cuts on all of this and what it takes to be successful and all of that. But one of the keys is you got to write your music. If you own your music, then you have real opportunity, because otherwise it gets cut and sliced so many different ways. Manager of the music writer, the manager of the artist, and then whoever's, by the time you slice it all up, there's not a lot left for the artist these days, unfortunately. But if you do your own stuff, if you write your own music and sing your own music, you have a real opportunity to be successful. You guys feel that. I know it's not easy, but you feel that with what you're doing, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Like I've always thought it was weird when we first started going to Nashville, and I realized so many artists just take outside songs, or there's like a full songwriting community who just write songs for other artists. But I think the fact that we do write our own songs, it makes it so much easier to connect with, and for other people to connect with them, because it's real emotions. It comes straight from us. But now we're working on, like Danica said, combining that with working with other artists, because we're already 3 people and these 2 are a lot. So imagine all of that in a writing room with extra people.
Well, I shared a segment of how the song "I Will Follow" starts at the beginning of the show. What a special song that is! It's a very empowering song. And then as you're listening on Spotify, you can't help but notice grown ass woman. When that song comes up on Spotify, there's so much. It's a sassy song. It has a way of capturing you. So. Does the inspiration for these songs come from you, each one of you? How does that happen?
Well, I'll back up to "I Will Follow," and this is amazing because we were just writing. We were writing music, and I think we were writing good songs, and we had never taken an outside song before. And we had a guy, Nick Brophy, who actually wrote. He and Jennifer Henson actually wrote "I Will Follow" 10 years ago. And he said, I heard this and I kind of thought of the girls, and he and Jeff on our management team, he and Jeff are friends, and he said, look, if you guys can do something with it, then you can. He said, and if not, that's okay. He said, but they're with their harmonies. He was like, just take a listen to this song. And I think we might have listened to 2 lines of it, and we were like, this is our song. This is it. And after we recorded and did the harmonies and everything for it, it felt so right. And that was our first experience with taking an outside song. And one thing that I like about us is that it's about what connects. It's about the song. And it doesn't matter if we wrote it or if someone else wrote it or if we collabed with somebody on the right. It's always about the song and the integrity of the song, and how it touches us and reaches us, because we feel like if we listen to it and go, then then there's a 99% chance that you'll listen to it and go as well. So
it's actually surprising, Danica, to hear that you didn't write it, because what's interesting about the way you guys sing it when you listen to the song, it feels, as you pointed out, you obviously have a connection to it, but it feels so much like your song.
Yes.
And in a way, it's a kind of an anthem to you guys, isn't it?
It really is. It's crazy that it was written, like she said, over 10 years ago. But it was kind of just weird hearing a song that we didn't write, and it sounded and felt exactly like something we would say. It's like one of those true wish I wrote it moments.
And
a minute.
It truly felt like the anthem of our journey. You know what I mean? And even down to like you said, the line that says the color of your skin or the beat of your own drum. And it felt like we were in Nashville for so long, just kind of hey, somebody, be friends with us. We want to be friends with you. And it was just kind of there's so much that we do that kind of doesn't, it's not how Nashville would usually do it. And it's not what Nashville is used to. So a lot of times people are like, hold up. But we sat down with Leslie Fram the other day, and usually she's over CMT, and we've only been to like events and in passing and like, hey girl, hey girl. And she was like, I really want to sit down and get to know you guys. And so we sat down and we talked for a little bit, and we probably weren't 10 to 15 minutes into the conversation. And she goes, oh my God, I get it. She was like, you girls are like Mississippi country.
Like real.
She was like, there are no female country artists right now like y'all at all. She said, I just didn't get it because I didn't know you guys. I didn't understand. I wasn't putting it together. So,
but what I love, hey, here's the deal. We're coming to the end of this segment, and we'll pick it up on the other side. But what I love about what you've been able to accomplish, Danica, is that there's nothing fake about what you're doing. I mean, you came from a small southern town. You don't come into this with if there's a chip on your shoulder, it's only that you're 3 African-American women who formed a trio who wants to kind of break the mold, but you're going to do it in a sort of a pure way. I mean, it's in your heart, it's in your soul to not fake this. This is who you are. And that's what's coming across in your music. And that's why I fell in love with you. I mean, I felt that there was such an authenticity about what you're doing. Somebody didn't make this up. This is real. And I think that's what people connect to. When we come back on the other side, we'll continue our conversation with Chapel Hart.
He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Okay, admit it. You're enjoying this conversation with Chapel Hart. I am, because it's so unusual. Here are three African American women who are so darn authentic. And I was telling them during the break that some of the best conversations always happen during the darn breaks, man. I wish we would have this conversation out loud. But essentially what we were saying is they're breaking the mold, but they're doing it so much in a way that's pure to their art. First of all, they love the music. They have, as you will hear when you hear them sing, and I really would encourage you to go to Spotify or YouTube, whatever your favorite tool would be, to bring up Chapel Hart, H-A-R-T, Chapel Hart, and listen for yourself. And you'll find yourself getting hooked to their music because it's really good. Especially if it's a little bit of traditional in there, but there's also kind of this sassy edge to it. I mentioned a minute ago, grown ass woman, and there's a line in there about she's not politically correct, but it's about being super independent and super authentic and being who you are and being an anthem to independence. That's what that song is about, isn't it?
Yeah. And one of the things one of the things that I love about grown ass woman is that I try to encourage women to see is that women, we are so hard on ourselves sometimes. You've got the kids and you've got, your husbands and you've got life and work and there's so much and it's so easy. I feel like we get so overwhelmed and we just start to kind of beat ourselves up. We're not being the best mom. We're, you know what I mean? And just trying to hold up everything and be the strength everywhere. Sometimes being a grown-ass woman is just taking the day and going, you know what?
I'm not doing nothing.
I might have not have finished everything I had on my list today, but that's it. But even when you decide to do that, you're still a grown-ass, powerful woman. You know what I mean? You may not hit the mark every time, but every day that you wake up and show up, that's being a grown-ass woman.
But what I love about the song, and when I say it's an anthem to independence, it's that you're going to live. The song is about you're going to live your life the way you want to live it, and you're not going to try to be something that somebody else wants you to be.
Right.
And in a way, that's kind of describes your trio, because there's a tremendous amount of independence in what you're doing. Where did that inspiration for that song come from?
Well, we actually wrote that song with Mickie James, who was the 10-time WWE Women's World Champion. And she tried to start it with a couple of guys and it wasn't really working. Maybe because she was trying it with a couple of guys. But after we met her, we kind of connected and just on that same token, just everything from, being a mom to being a sister to being a provider to being that rock and everything. But and it doesn't really matter where you come from because we're from South Mississippi and she's from Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you're from the big city or the small towns, whether you're wearing heels or boots, we're all still very capable. And
Yes.
it's kind of once we started on it, the song kind of just came to life.
Being a grown-ass woman transcends. Doesn't matter where you're from.
Right.
And it's so funny though. Tree said that she wrote it with two guys and it just wasn't coming along. And we'll give them extra credit because they are Mississippi guys as well. She wrote that with Sean Gasway and Brandon Green, and so they kind of laid down the foundation. And once we got in the room with Mickie James, it was such a powerful. I always say she's about 4'11", it feels like, but I'm scared of her every day of the week. Okay.
Devin, I could tell that song meant something to you too. What?
Oh, yeah. I'm all for it, okay? Just the badassiness about it. Just something for it.
I like that.
Thank you.
It is really cool. Well, what's interesting about studying the recognition you've gotten internationally, it reminds me a little bit of Kingfish and some of the other artists from the Mississippi Delta. That when they're in the Mississippi Delta, we don't really appreciate, cause I guess we take them for granted. We don't appreciate what we have and the talent, the genius of it all. Then they go to places like the UK and suddenly they're famous, they're famous there. So when you first traveled for the first time, when did it hit you that, wow, this international dimension is very interesting, and it's gonna show us new angles to songwriting and experiencing life? And talk to me about that.
So in 2019, we were invited to go to Innsbruck, Austria to headline the New Orleans Jazz Festival. It was the first time in 21 years that they've ever had females to headline or a country act.
And they never had country music.
Never had country music. And so we were like, are y'all sure?
There's no take back.
Once we're there.
Once we go
there. And so like we got there, before we even went, people were like, don't really expect a lot of crowd interaction. Just kind of not putting it down, but just like don't expect too much from it. And we got there. It was the most mind-blowing experience ever.
And there was a moment, I think even it was in between days. I think we headlined the festival for like 5 days. And so probably about like maybe like day 4, 3 or 4, we went to the mall, which was like right across. So we just decided to walk over there instead of get like the car service. And so we're walking, and it's almost like a scene from like Walking Dead. It starts off, there's like 3 people following you, and then there's like 10, and then there's like 25.
Literally a crowd of people, and then like I was surprised whenever I'd see the people like with their phone like sneaking pictures.
We're so good, we were like, hey, you want to take a picture?
And there's this one brave guy who comes up and says, will you please make photo with my baby? So it's like moments like that we were like, is this real right now? Like, you know what I mean? And especially internationally. And it's like when you can barely communicate through words.
Listen, I was struggling with
they listen to your music, they downloaded your music, and you look down, and by like night 3, they're singing every word. It's like, what is going on?
Sing every word to Made for Me, and then you try to have a conversation afterwards. Was?
Yes. There was this one lady, she said, this place called Poplarville, I must go. I got that one. I told her she better come during Blueberry Jubilee, or she ain't gonna have much. She gonna miss a whole lot.
Okay, so let's come back to Dolly Parton and the song that responds to her song Jolene. Where did that? I mean, did you guys write that one?
Yep.
Wow. So talk to me about it, because what a great way to stab at the absolute heart of country music than to go right at Dolly Parton and to respond to her song Jolene in such a cool way. What a great way to kind of find a niche in there to have a conversation. I mean, I just love it.
And I think it really speaks to songwriting. And I think that I don't think we realized the type of songwriters that we were, because Dolly wrote Jolene, and then an artist by the name of Cam wrote a song called Diane, which was Jolene singing back to the wife saying, I didn't even know he was married. Like, we need to talk it out. And I was like, we got to get in on this story. And I was like, now just imagine, now I got to take off from work. I got to take my lunch break to go talk to her. And I said, how about you just keep him, Jolene? How about you have him, okay? And so, like, rock, paper, scissors, you win. And we just sat down and we said, we just got to write that. You can have him, Jolene. And, or Deb had on a t-shirt we did a 9 to 5 video we did a cover to 9 to 5 on YouTube. And when Deb walks in, she's a line cook, and her shirt says, you can have him, signed Jolene. And we were like, who does this heifer think she is? Like, you don't take somebody's man and then say you can have him. How about you can have him, Jolene? And that's where we said, we got to write that. That's fire. And
well, see, and that it's just, again, the beauty of a good collaboration.
Yes.
The inspiration could come from all 3 of you, and you just build on it. And to me, that's really exciting. Did you ever, in your wildest imagination, think that what would come out of it would be a song that would kind of capture so much attention and interest?
Not at all. Like, whenever we got the email from Scotland saying that they wanted to name You Can Have Him Jolene as the International Song of the Year, first of all, we thought it was spam. Like, how? Like, what? But in hindsight, thinking about it, Mom always said, you got to know where you came from in order to know where you're going. And I think like that song in itself, I've heard of like even a lot of younger girls who like listen to our music say like, I started listening to Jolene again, and like they didn't even realize like the whole like saga of the story. But like it kind of just took a life of its own. It was like one of those, we finished the song, it was like, okay, this is fun. This is kind of very much us, because we're not the very sad, depressed, oh, she took my boyfriend. then like that's just not us.
Bye, Felicia.
And I feel like a lot of our fans has they connected with that song in a way I didn't even imagine. Like people who've gotten out of bad relationships or in a bad relationship and like, this is my sign to get out. Don't even worry about it.
I think that was a game changer for me.
Right.
So like when people were like, this song gave me the courage to leave my relationship. She was like, and I knew for so long, but I didn't know why I was holding on and I was being abused verbally, emotionally. And she said, I heard this song and I knew. She was like, I was worth more than that. And I was like,
we're bringing women to their senses all 2022.
So there you go.
Come on. I love it. And you guys are going to, in October, you're going to play at Dolly's festival at Dollywood in Pigeon Forge.
Yes.
We love taking our grandkids there. We used to take our kids there. I love Dolly. I just love what she stands for. And it's going to be cool to go there and do that song especially, isn't it? Hey, I tell you what, we're going to pick it up on the other side and talk about that because it's a great opportunity for you guys. But we're with Chapel Hart telling their story. What a cool story it is. We'll see you after this break.
talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Okay, sometimes when publicists write about a group, what you read about them is not what you're actually going to see in real life. They're just trying to put a good a spin on it as they possibly can. But I don't know who wrote this, but they nailed it. And this is what was at the top of my list when I put you guys out. It said, breakout country music trio Chapel Hart is taking country music by storm, where their chill-inducing three-part harmonies and powerful message of unity. And then it goes on to talk about the Mississippi Trio and what they've done and all the recognition they've gotten around the world. But it is a great story. And now that I've met you and got a sense of just how authentic you are and how passionate you are, and the fact that you have this great approach to how you write music, it's going to be fun to watch you guys. Okay, so let's cover a quick couple of details, and then we'll finish up with whatever still is open to talk about. You're going to be performing at the Whiskey Bar over the weekend. Give me the details of that.
So this weekend, July the 9th, we will be playing in Pass Christian at the Whiskey Bar. We are so excited. Doors open at 6:30, and the show starts at 7:30.
Tickets are still available. MC Mary Catherine, the owner of the Whiskey Bar, she does a great job of promoting us. We actually filmed You Can Have Them Jolene at the Whiskey Bar. So if you'd like to be so it's like you'd be at the You Can Have Them Jolene music video again. So make sure you get your tickets. They're online, available everywhere.
If they miss you there, they can see you all over the United States between now and the end of the year, including Dollywood in October, or even the UK, which I see there's a date there too.
Be in Philadelphia, Mississippi as well.
We're playing the
Neshoba County Fair.
Oh, you got to go to the Neshoba County Fair. I think that's an awesome way to let people get to know you. Okay. If people want to see your music, what I would recommend is just go to the internet and put in Chapel Hart. What you'll see there, you'll be able to click on their music, their lyrics, whichever format you use to listen to music. You'll be able to do it there. I use Spotify. I'm a little hoarse today because I flew back from the Dominican Republic at 1:00 this morning, so my voice is not quite there. But yeah, great way to really study their music, the words to their music, and get to know them better. You got some great music videos that they have access to as well that are up on YouTube. So great there. Anything else you want to say about music availability and how to get access to your music?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. We know you like to listen to Spotify, but it doesn't matter if you like Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music, Amazon Music. Say, Alexa, play me some Chapel Hart. But like you say, if you search Chapel Hart, it'll show you every streaming platform available. And maybe even better, call your local radio station and tell them to play it there too.
So you're going to be on America's Got Talent? What the heck?
So we're super excited that we get to kind of represent Mississippi and Louisiana on America's Got Talent, literally one of the biggest stages in the world. And we're super nervous because we're going to be auditioning with an original song. So I feel like that's the hardest thing, is to go and be like, this is us, and America gets to decide if it's good or bad. So I guess we'll see.
And which song?
I think you're one of your favorites. You Can Have Them Jolene.
Yeah, definitely got to do that one. Well, congratulations for getting on, number one. But secondly, good luck to you guys.
Thank you so much.
It's been
I can't wait to see more about that. Wow, so many amazing songs, such a great story. It's going to be so much fun watching you guys. I know it's hard today. As I mentioned at the beginning, it's like a lot of noise in the music industry today. It's hard to sort of break through. But you have such a cool niche. And again, I'm not trying to compare it to the Serena and Venus Williams story, but the point is that in their genre, that's what they made a statement. And this genre, you're making a statement, and it's authentic, and it's important, and it's beautiful, and it's right. The harmony of your voices is some of the best I've heard. And you didn't get there overnight, did you? I mean, it took work, didn't it?
Derek works just about as hard as King Richard worked. Venus and Serena. So it's been hard work.
It's like, at this rate, I could probably switch to King Richard for a little lighter regimen.
Right.
Well, that's the way, that's it. I mean, listen, nothing worth having was ever easy. Nothing.
That's right.
You do not skip steps in life. I often say about that actually is that if you do skip steps, you will eventually pay the piper. That's just the reality of the world. And since more people they're in your area of work, there are so many people that are in there burning the midnight oil. They're not sleeping. They're letting everything that they've got from a creativity point of view pour out, and they're serious. I mean, if you want to get competitive, go to the work that you're doing. But you have such a fine niche. You have such beautiful music. You come across so wonderfully in this discussion we're having today. I really think that some great days are ahead for you guys. I really do.
Thank you, Ricky.
It has been a pleasure. And look, we'll come back together again in a couple of months and get updated. Y'all will be,
Make you promise us a part 2. So.
And you can bring some harmony the next time. I didn't ask them
Yeah, there you go.
perform today because their voices weren't ready for it. But this has been Danica and Devin Hart and my friend Tree Swindle and from Chapel Hart, and it has been a terrific opportunity for me to get to know you guys better. Thank you for joining me.
We had so much fun today, Ricky.
Thank you.
And go to Whiskey Bar over the weekend and see what it's all about.
We'll be here waiting on you.
Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.
Bye, guys.